Hey, what's up? My name is Iurii, and we're going to talk about the blockchain, how it might change, improve, or maybe some people say revolutionize the real estate industry. And we will talk about this with one of the first crypto world ambassadors, the guy who was giving Bitcoins for free here in Chicago, senior leader of the Tony Robbins team, Joseph Ash. How are you, Joseph?
I'm good. I'm actually very fine. I'm in sunny Puerto Rico, enjoying the weather and lockdown like the rest of the country.
Let's talk about buying and selling process. It's kind of complicated. It's risky, and there are many people involved, like real estate agents, bankers, home inspectors, and other people who are trying to get a cut. Do you think that blockchain will change that process, that it will maybe going to be faster, it's going to be easier, or even more secure?
Well, technology is already here. Basically, nothing stops you but the regulation from the experience that you can pick up your phone, you scroll, you find a property that you like, you press the button, it goes your virtual tour around the property so you can see everything about the property. You click it one more time and give the history of what happened to this property. You click one more time, you see the comparables in the area, and you see the rent going on. You click one more time, it gives you calculations, so you don't have to work hard to calculate how much money you're going to get and what is your return on investment going to be. You like it, click, 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 you buy it. That's how should be, I believe, and the technology exists already now. It's definitely possible, and it's definitely possible to create the experience that poor kid in Africa, which is only has $3 on his name, and he has American dream to have piece of American property or American dream, piece of some nice condo on Fifth Avenue, right, which is cost $20 million. If he was a $3 tiny investment in this condo, and he wants to get the fraction, get the fraction of this condo, and he just scroll down like the picture, click the button, and voila, it's his. The technology is here. It's nothing new. It exists maybe 3, 4, 5 years already.
Oh, really? So basically I can just buy like piece of this building just for a couple bucks?
Right. So technology is here. I mean, like basically, just like not a lot of people know Bitcoin, people say, how can I afford Bitcoin? It's $9,000. Well, probably by the time you're going to put it on, it's going to be maybe $20,000, I hope. And my answer is very simple. Do you know that Bitcoin is actually, you can divide by million different pieces? It's called Satoshi. So the same thing, why we can divide any asset if it's not physical but digital, right? It's a math. We can divide it, but any amount of pieces you wanna slice your pie. And think about this. It's win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
It's win for me as a poor guy in Africa who wants to buy the property, because I will be able to invest not in my village, which is I totally in love with, but I don't have a strong belief that it's gonna raise tomorrow to the roof, and I don't feel safe investing in the place where I live, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be a win for me. It's gonna be a win for you as a rich guy in New York who wanna sell your condo, because suddenly you have access not to 20 other rich guys in New York and Manhattan, right? You have access to 6 billion people who want to potentially buyers who want to buy your real estate. So it's better for you as a buyer, and it's better for you as a seller. The price it's going to drive the prices up, the real estate prices, and you as a final buyer are not going to even feel it, because hey, if you have only $3 to invest, would you care it gives you 0.013% of the property or 0.002.5? It doesn't really matter for you, but for me, it's a big deal. So as long as the tokenization and all this process will be implemented, it's going to be a totally different world.
Sure. Can you explain a little bit maybe about tokenization, what it actually is? How it's
you can create tokens, which is, you can create the smart contracts, you create the tokens, which you have basically specific function, and you can create the program which tells you what to do in any particular case. So basically, you can you can go to the building and say, hey, this building costs $5 million, right? Why don't we divide $5 million to 5 million tokens, and we can sell token by token this building, and this token will be tradable on the second market, so you can sell it outside. You need to go to the estate agent and knock on the door and do all that. So basically, you can trade these tokens. So my token is Fifth Avenue, Manhattan, and you have a token from apartment in downtown Kiev, right? And we can trade one to another, and we can claim our rights for the revenue which is the property generates, right? As long as we don't go and knock on the door on the government authorities and the regulators and say, hey, give me please this 1 millionth part of my Fifth Avenue Manhattan apartment, right? As long as you don't do that, it's never going to be a problem. We already know there's a precedence, like I know a couple luxury apartments in Manhattan who were sold this way, and everything worked fine. Everything worked fine because people say, hey, I don't really care to be it on my name, right? All I care that I have a piece of paper which is explicit in the process, and it's legal documents bonded, right? Mm-hmm. And what happened between us, we don't really care, right? Because the part of the document actually explains it that you cannot knock on the deed office and claim actually 1 millionth part of your Manhattan building, right?
Okay.
You technically don't have a legal rights, but you do have a legal rights to own this token, which represents 1 millionth part of the company, which is legally holds the title of the property. So it's not yours, but you can use it. Okay, let's put it this way.
But I own the token.
You own the token. You own the token. Now, if you go outside of our world and you go to the regulator and knock on the door and say, "Hey, there's my token," they will tell you, "We don't know what you're talking about. Wherever this property belongs to this company, you have to deal with them." Okay. You have a problem, you can sue them, right?
So when do you think regulators will accept that?
Well, unfortunately, in United States, the beautiful country that we live, regulators very behind the process, and we know that in places like Republic of Georgia, Black Sea, and there's some other countries. People, I know they're in Ukraine. They're trying to do that. I know where they're at now. There's a lot of countries which is actually, I understand the potential, not the technology even potential, the financial potential, how it's going to raise the price of the property, right? The regulators already give in, and they give the permission to do that. Instead of Illinois, 2 years ago, there was a commission by the local Senate, which is trying to help to implement blockchain technology in the real estate, but it never worked out because we had a couple meetings and everything was fine, but they don't want to finance the effort even to do legislation, because hey, legislation costs money to put in together, right? It takes money.
But do you think it will change in the future?
Well, it's very simple. I believe there is no eventually borders for the markets, and there is no borders for the streaming capital from the place A to place B. So I definitely believe that at a certain point, if the market here doesn't give in and doesn't give me as an investor my best return and my best convenience to invest in the property I want the way I want, I'll go somewhere else. And think about this: the rich guys have way more options than the poor guys, right? We can invest anywhere in the world. We can go anywhere in the world. We're not bound by the certain passport or visas or whatever, right? So I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm saying historically we do know if the not advanced government rules the country, eventually it creates the chaos and it creates the depreciation in the prices. And the tons of examples in history, or even now, people don't want to invest in, for some reason, in a place like East Ukraine, or people don't want to invest at the moment in Russia, or people don't want to invest in a war zone in Africa. maybe opportunity is there. People don't believe there is a strong enough government to enforce property rights.
Mm-hmm.
And when people feel it, they just pack your stuff and go. They cannot go physically. The money will go for sure.
Yeah. How many years do you think it will take, approximately?
Well, you know what? I was very super optimistic about all this process when I was introducing Bitcoin in 2013. I was saying, oh my God, it's a great technology. We're definitely going to see in a year or two all the world switch to Bitcoin, and it's going to be no more banks, and the life going to be totally different. I was totally wrong. Well, think about this. The very first credit card, American Express, was introduced to the world in 1962, right? It's almost what, 80 years ago, right?
Yeah.
60? And we still have most of the world don't use credit cards, and technology is great, and it's very convenient, and more convenient than the cash, right? So I'm very conservative on the way how long it's gonna take. I don't know about the United States. I know it will get more and more in different other countries. Again, I said Georgia, I said Switzerland, I was talking about Ukraine. I hear these messages from all around the world. How long the 800-pound gorilla will understand, how long does it take to her understand that you need to move forward? You can't just sit and enjoy the benefit of being, real estate market #1 in the world just because the size of the country. I do not know. I have no idea. But I know the people were knocking at the door. I know the big real estate guys were knocking at the door, regulation say, hey, we need to do something. We need to do something because, we don't want to lose the competitive advantage what this beautiful country has.
Yeah. So what do you think going to happen to real estate agents? And do you think people will still need them, or everything will be done automatically? Like you mentioned before, smart contracts.
Well, again, I believe the same idea like it was with with American Express. So technically, you don't need cash, but hey, everybody has it. You don't need real estate agent, but from my experience dealing with real estate agent, these people actually, the majority of the work, 80% of what they do, it's not really real estate related. It's a psychology work. It try to convince the buyer that the price in apartment is good. It try to convince the seller that his apartment is priced too high so they can go down, right? So it's working with the people. This element will never go away, or maybe it will go away, but it will take maybe generation or at least significant amount of time, because people have a need in human connection, right? People have a need. People need to feel confidence. They need to be guided.
So what do you think going to happen to real estate agents? Do you think they still going to have the job, or something significantly will change?
Well, I believe they need a real estate agent will stay there because they do a very important job of connect people. People have the basic need and be guided where they're not comfortable with the process and the process is too complicated. So they want to have the ability to pick up the phone and talk to the real person, right? So this is never going to change. And for a lot of people, especially not investors, real estate represents the most valuable asset, the asset they have. They actually buying not to invest, buying to live there. People have feelings about that. It's important to them. They want to talk to the real person. So I think real estate agent, the one who advanced and the one who mastered the human psychology is the most important, right? In this profession, I believe they can definitely going to stay.
What do you think going to happen to those 6%? They have 3% from the buyer and they get 3% from the seller. Do you think that percentage will change?
It's already changing. I mean, you've got a company like Redfin, which is charging 1% on the high end, right? And there's a competition. And, I'm not saying 6% is too much, but I'm saying if somebody wants to do it for 5, he'll get the market share, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when people sit and think, oh, this is acceptable because that's what it is, that's what we know, and it used to be 6%, well, there used to be slavery in this country, so what?
Yeah.
Things are changing. It's called market and it's called competition.
So previously you mentioned smart contracts. Can you tell us what it is?
So the smart contract, basically, it's a program which is actually describes what we want to do. The smart contract works on the idea that if me and you agree on something, when you do A, I will do B, right? And this is processes automatically, meaning you have no control on what's going to happen, and I have no control what's going to happen, right? And we're bounded by this agreement. For example, um, can I assume you're my son, right? And I want you to wash your car. And when I want you to wash my car, and I want to pay you $20.
Okay.
So I can create a smart contract, and I put my $20 as a collector,
Mm-hmm.
and I say, as long as the car is going to get washed, you're going to get $20.
Okay.
And then you call and say, hey, Dad, you know what? The car is washed. And I say, nope, it's not. And they say, no, I washed it. Well, but I don't feel it's washed. It's not washed good enough for me. You're not getting $20. And you say, yeah, but I did it. Where's my money? And I keep going. And, it's basically typical conversation between dad and his son, customer, and the business owner. We can go so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the smart contract represents the idea that the validation of this contract is related on third party. So it's going to be a guy, okay, which is we both trust, who's going to get out of $20, maybe $2 or 20 cents to be like more real example, because they're usually very cheap, because they also compete with each other, right? The validators compete with each other for the better price and better execution, how fast and how cheap they can validate the contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we call the guy and say, hey, you know what, I have an argument. I think he didn't wash my car, and he wants $20. And you're gonna say, no, I'll wash it and it doesn't work. He doesn't pay me $20. What's wrong? So the validator look at the picture that you took, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's acceptable for him that the car is washed, here it is $20. I have no access to this $20. I cannot stop him, and you can't force to take this $20 if he doesn't agree. So this is the idea of smart contract, like on a very simple scale.
Like a vending machine?
Basically, yes. But human being driven vending machine, because and it's sometimes, vending machine is very simple contract. I have $2. I want a chocolate bar, right? Yeah. We're talking about more complicated things. We're talking about like, is the car washed enough?
Yeah.
To claim $20, or we can create more complicated contracts between human being, which is definitely need human being interaction, or artificial intelligence in the future, which can decide who's right, who's wrong. And basically, if you will, it potentially eliminate the whole legal system in our society. So if you have an argument, I don't need to go anymore to the court to sue you, right? Because I just go to the third party, and it's way easier, because the court is not driven by monetary interest. The court doesn't have any incentive to process our claim fast. They can take their time. Am I the guy who I'm validator of the contract? I want to eat. I wanted this $2.20 quick and now, right? And I don't have to be in Chicago downtown paying expensive rent for expensive building, right? I can be some guy in Indonesia, which is work for $2 a day, right? And I will process the same claim, because hey, even the guy in Indonesia will understand the car is clean or not, right? So you see how we're going to switch the paradigm of the society?
Yeah, so it basically means that smart contracts will make people do a better job, right?
Absolutely, right. And also you're going to be competing for the legal system, which is going to be better than the country or the place you live at the moment. Because if, let's say, we have a law that we both don't feel it's justified, I can come up with the idea, but let's think something you don't like and something I don't like, right? And we know if it's going to go to, let's say, very simple thing, like, now to evict the person in the property for some states takes 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait 6 months till get the guy who is not paying me out of my apartment. Yeah, Airbnb solved this problem very quick, right? Because if you do it through the Airbnb, basically, as long as you don't pay, I call them and I call police, right? And you don't have a tenant right. So this is the legal solution for this problem. The technical solution to this problem will be very simple. As long as I report the person is not living the place, right? As long as I report a person, the system will change the code on the lock to apartment, he will never be able to get in.
Okay.
Right? So no, well, then you can go sue me in the court and say, hey, I have a legal rights to live here. There's a contract, but the reality of life, you're going to be out of the place. You'll never be able to get in, and then you're going to fight for the right to get in. I'm not going to fight to the right to get you out.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So the implementation of legal system, the implementation of smart contracts will make legal system, I'm not saying obsolete, but I'm saying you will go to the court to very complicated cases.
Mm-hmm.
And something which is you don't believe this, the artificial intelligence or the technology will be able to enforce. To change the code on a door, it's a piece of cake. You can do it remotely, you don't need to go to any court.
Yeah. How about lawyers? What do you think smart contracts will do with the lawyers, with law industry?
Well, you need both. You need the guy who is coding, you need the guy who's going to put the code,
Mm-hmm.
but you definitely need to lawyer to tell what's the law in this particular area, how does it work, because as we know, this is like basics of the law, that if we cannot create the contract which is illegal. For example, I cannot create the contract between you and me, or between me and somebody else. If we cannot create a contract that I buy you as a human being, the slavery is illegal in the United States. So if we create this contract, this contract, it's not going to be valid, right? We cannot create the contract that I hire you to kill somebody. I mean, there's a lot of things that you cannot do legally, right? And this contract is obsolete by default, right? You'll not be able to execute it. On top of it, if you execute, you probably will go to jail, right? Yeah. So you need the attorney and a lawyer tell the person what is legal, what is not to do before you sign the contract.
Okay.
Because technically the contract going to be executed, but you also will go to jail when you execute this contract.
Yeah. How do you think this pandemic influenced the blockchain?
Basically, in a couple of ways. First of all, like finally people understand there's a new economy, the normal new. We're not going back to old patterns, that's for sure. And even when all this situation will be straight out, the mindset, the mentality of people are going to be different. First of all, a lot of people learn we don't actually need a lot of jobs we think we do, because we function without it. We also the mindset goes to a very primitive stage. Basically, we don't need anything besides the food and the shelter, right? Everything else is optional, right? So yeah, I mean, people figure out they can stay at home months and 2 months and 4 months. You need basically, clean clothes and food and ability to communicate what we're doing now, internet, be able to access information. So it's definitely gonna point out people which is undermine the technology and the blockchain, that is something better than just old world, because the biggest obstacle that people have, we're talking about cryptocurrency, we're talking about blockchain. Hey, I want to have something in my hand. I don't trust you guys. I don't understand this, digital world, right? So now it's all changed. Now people sit at home and they're perfectly fine. They're making money. They're going to school. They can run thousand people company from your home office, right? So the mindset that you need to have something tangible, you need to have an office and a Lamborghini and all that thing, to keep going, suddenly it doesn't work. You can sit at home and make money, and everything's going to be fine. It's a major shift in mentality of people. Technology will be almost from the beginning of the creation of Satoshi up till now, besides maybe milestone people like Vitalik Buterin who created Ethereum, and the Lightning Network, which is going to speed up the process of the information through the blockchain. Nothing new actually was created through this last 10 years. So technology is here. It's the adoption curve. We have a problem with adoption. We don't have a problem with technology. Technology is there.
Do you think this pandemic, it will move the adoption a little bit faster?
Definitely, because people start asking questions which is people never asked before. See, 5 years ago, you're saying, what if everybody gonna lock in their home and something big gonna happen, and you have no access to the cash, and you need to trade with other people? What is the solution? People tell you it's never going to happen again. Well, guess what? It's happening in Puerto Rico. You can't get to the bank. You just cannot, right?
Yeah.
Well, any amount of cash you have on your hand, it's good for you. You can trade with other people if they accept cash. If you don't have a cash, what else do you have? You have a gold, you have a Bitcoin. Everything else doesn't matter. Millions of dollars in an account doesn't count. You cannot buy with this $1 million any food here because you just don't have access to the cash.
By the way, do you buy or sell real estate? Do you invest in it?
Yeah, I'm doing like part-time. I know I was big on the real estate because I don't like blocks. I like the other blocks, which is with mining in the blockchain, but I don't like the blocks. The whole idea that you can hold something which is tangible, which is a lot of people like, I actually don't, because everything that you can hold can be destroyed or taxed, right? So the government can raise taxes, the tenant can destroy real estate. So in opposite, people think that real estate is a safe haven. For me, it's very dangerous to hold real estate. They also have a trend, what happened if the economy is tanking and people just don't want to live in some places, the country went broke. We're talking about the country that 20 population then just left their home and went somewhere else for a better life. Definitely know in the United States, cities which is people left and went somewhere else. And we also know some states which you have, I'm sure I don't have to mention this state, we both know, which has the negative dynamic of the population growth, with people just living. So having real estate, it's not definitely safe net, but I definitely play with that, just like when I see tremendous opportunities. I saw tremendous opportunities in 2009 when the market was tanking. That's how I start my investment in real estate, because it was something unusual. It's not what I do on a regular basis. I predict, and maybe I'm going to be wrong, that we're going to hit another, even worse wave of real estate depreciation in the next 6 months to the year.
Okay. Do you think similar things going to happen now?
I think it's going to go worse.
Worse?
Definitely. That's again, I'm not a real estate professional, so I don't know, but I mean, knowing a thing or two about the economy and be witnesses in my life, some stuff, that's the thing. Like, real estate is good as long as you can find somebody who's going to pay your rent. And when it's 20% people are unemployed, who's going to pay your rent?
Well, yeah.
And let's take it further, right? Suddenly, a million people understand, hey, I don't need to live in New York anymore, which is very expensive, and the weather is, doesn't work because it's cold. And I know a lot of people like Minnesota, but majority of people don't, right? They're not voluntarily going to live in the country. You can move from place A to place B in a place which is like, it's not human being conditioned to go outside with a t-shirt, right? So people like warmer weather, majority of people, right? They're looking for two things, the warmer weather and a cheap cost of living. Now you tell me, yeah, but I don't want to live in some hole. I want to be able to enjoy Fifth Avenue and Broadway show. And in Chicago, we definitely want to enjoy Chicago Symphony Orchestra, one of the best in the world, definitely. But hey, if this one is not developed because it's closed, what else do I have in Chicago and New York? Nothing. I just pay too much rent for too bad weather, right? So why don't you pack my stuff and go to Florida? Or why don't you pack my stuff and go to Bali or Vietnam? Delicious, can make the same amount of money, the weather gonna be nice, right? And my cost of living gonna be 10 times or 5 times less, right? So it's gonna create major shift in the human psychology, not in the United States, but all over the world. People will finally realize you don't need to be where you're at. You better condition in a smaller city, which has cheaper prices and better weather.
Let's sum up. Can you legally transfer ownership of real estate on Bitcoin blockchain, or let's say Facebook blockchain? People.
In the United States, as far as I know, at the moment, the answer is no.
Okay, but do you think it's going to happen in the future?
Definitely. And again, there is a difference between owner rights and the rights of use the property. So the idea that you can have rights of using property and collecting rent, that does exist. It's already here. It's just not legally bounded by the government authority. You cannot knock on the door and say, where is my part of this apartment? You cannot do it legally. You have just a representation of the piece of the shares of the company who owns the property. But yes, you legally able to have legally will be able to have a part of the share of the company and collect the rent, and that you can trade it. This is legally possible.
So do you see those changes already happening in other countries?
It's definitely way faster than here. I was, as I said, Georgia. I've heard about Ukraine, Switzerland, some Asian country going to this direction.
It's interesting because I'm from Ukraine and I've never heard the Ukraine moving forward that fast.
Well, you're in the wrong place. You don't live in Ukraine anymore, and you know. So yeah, definitely, the rule of thumb is very simple. As you need to think. I mean, as Anthony Robbins says, we move by two things. It's by pleasure or by pain. You should be either in a place which is very stable and rich and has no problem, and think how we can do the life better, like Switzerland, and they create that. Or you have to come from a place of despair when you need to do something, you need to be first, otherwise nobody wants you. And this is Ukraine and Georgia, and what happened is in Georgia, the change, an economic change in 20 years from the pretty poor republic of former Soviet Union to the country which is people have very big flow of people from the West, including the United States, who are trying to settle down there, get citizenship, and enjoy the country, and you know, enjoy the freedom and prosperity. The change is dramatic, and the reason for that because the government went there for technology advances. Like, okay, we cannot be Russia. We're not that big, right? We cannot be Switzerland. We're not that rich. But what we can do? Well, we probably can advance people with technology. Estonia is the same another example, you know, which is introduced e-citizenship. You actually can become citizen of Estonia, like a resident of Estonia without even being there, just by applying to the consul and get the nice card, which is give you every right to establish the company there, open bank account, and pay taxes and everything without even being ever in this country. So the small countries definitely move further forward. The countries which is feel they have nothing to offer to the global pool of the other countries besides the technology and invention will definitely move forward.
So, senior leader of the Tony Robbins team, what do you do?
Well, basically, you know, there's opportunity to help and to deliver Tony Robbins' message to every participant who come to the event. Because Tony always says, "Hey, I'm only one guy, and there's 10,000 people in the audience, and I won't be able to interact with everybody. So basically, you, our frontliners, you the guys who are gonna deliver the message. You're gonna answer the questions about the content that they have, and sometimes you do the intervention. You basically help people with the real problem because you trained by Tony. There's a special program which is he actually prepare people for this function to help audience during the events.
Based on the mindset, right?
Not necessarily. Basically based on techniques. Listen, mindset, it's a good idea for motivation. It's a good idea to get you started, but it's not a good idea to get it executed. To get it executed, you need specific toolbox of special tools that you know how to execute it. And Tony is not about motivation at all, in opposite what most people think. He's very to-do guy. He's about how to do that, about giving you techniques.
Sure. Okay, so let's get back to the blockchain. So you're saying it's inevitable that assets like real estate, stocks, gold maybe even will be tokenized?
Well, gold is tokenized already all the way. The gold is like, it's a 5-year-old story. It's not even more. Like there's tons of companies who do tokenization of gold. You can definitely, there's many projects on blockchain with gold. This is already here.
But how about other assets?
Well, real estate is I mean, gold is a gold is a gold, right? Ounce is a gold is ounce is a gold anywhere, right? Real estate, not like in real estate. You need to know how to create a standard contract
Mm-hmm.
So real estate should be standardized, and for the nature of real estate, it cannot be, right? So we see the problem, right? How we can come up with something which is going to be standard. How are we able to change my share of the apartment in downtown of Kiev, and how much is going to be equivalent to my downtown apartment in Chicago? Like, what's the ratio? Do I go by the price of the market? Who determines price of the market? Do I go by the cash flow? How we can price the fact that taxation and uncertainty of the whole situation in the country. There's so many things which is you need to be worked out. The complexity of the real estate obviously brings the complexity of the situation.
Got it, Joseph. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing this. That was definitely interesting conversation. But before you go, is there anything that people need to know about the blockchain? Or maybe you have some advices or practices that you do with Tony Robbins?
Well, basically what you do need to know, there's a technology, and don't be afraid of technology. And just like 20 years ago, I was only one guy who had a cell phone, and I had nobody else to call, and it was that big. So yes, I'm a pioneer. I'm always go first, and I always see what's going to happen next, and I always try new stuff, and I'm not afraid of technology, right? It's coming, it's inevitable, and you better learn about that, and you try to find the people who is more friendly, who can explain you that. But definitely think it's something for the geeks, or something it's somewhere, it's a common word which is not here yet. This is definitely a wrong approach. It's here, and people who have access to this technology enjoy tremendous of benefits, including financial benefits of the able to trade stuff that the regular people don't know how to trade, to own stuff that regular people don't know how to own, the convenience, the community, and just economical prosperity. So definitely something that you would like to take a look at. Sure.
How would you say people like real estate agents should be prepared for this?
Well, at least you need to see when things got merged and everything is in place, it's going to be too late. So you need to be prepared in advance what's going to happen. So if I were you, I would probably go through some meetups and try to learn about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency first, so to have the idea. It's just like basically you learn about how the helicopter works before you can get your pilot license, because you're not allowed to be a pilot yet. But if you know how the helicopter works, well, when the time going to be right, it's definitely going to help you through the licensing process, because you already know what is it about.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for sharing this. Appreciate that.
Sure. My pleasure.
Not gonna hold you for that long. I know you're a busy man. So enjoy the weather.
Absolutely.